You know, it seems quite a simple concept, doesn't it? Two great drivers side by side in identical cars. But the Race of Champions is all about quick-fire, fast and furious action. So two of the same model just simply aren't enough. Look at these rock cars here. We've got 6 of these, and each manufacturer from the other cars are asked to bring at least 4. Audi, we've got VW Scirocco, we've got the KTM Crossbow. That's something a little bit different, and not many of the drivers will have seen or driven that before unless they've been here. We've also got the Euro race car, the biggest engine car here at over 5.5 litres, and making their debut this year, 2 cars, the Lamborghini Trofeo and the new Toyota GT86. But you know, the essence of the Race of Champions is taking people out of their comfort zone. And this rock car, which has been a staple for the last few years, is a perfect example. Just look at that exposed suspension on the front. There's lots of suspension travel, and the way to drive these cars is not to drive them particularly smoothly. You've got to work with the car diving and moving around. And Sebastian Vettel is a past master at that. Let's find out how everyone else adapts to something very, very different indeed. Race of Champions, all about firing up those engines and having fun side by side. Well guys, you've caught me lusting around the beautiful sculpted rear end of one of 2 brand new cars for the Race of Champions 2012. The Toyota GT86 I think is going to be a lot of fun. But here, of course, we're looking at what I think will be one of the crowd favourites, the mighty V10 5.2 570 horsepower Lamborghini Trofeo. It's going to be a handful around this tight stadium circuit, which is great news for us as spectators. It means that the guys are going to have to work hard. We'll need some real talent in the cockpit. But of course, that's what we've got. It's the Race of Champions. The second of the brand new cars for the Race of Champions 2012 here in Thailand is the Toyota GT86. I think this is going to be a real fan favourite. First of all, for how it looks. It's a great little package. Front engine with the flat 4, keeping the bonnet, the hood nice and low here. Great lines. Also, great pearl white. It's going to look fantastic under the lights. Rear wheel drive means it'll be quite spectacular, even with only around 200 horsepower. But for me, it's going to be the sound. These have been tuned within an inch of their lives, at least the exhaust has been, and the fans are going to love the noise that they make out in that stadium. And you know, if you fancy one of these to go VLN racing around the Nordschleife in Germany at the moment, you can pick one up ready to race for under $40,000. Sounds like a bargain to me. You know, the powerhouse of any motor racing event is always the pit area, but it's very different here at the Race of Champions. First of all, you won't see any drivers around here because they're not involved in the setup of the car. The variety is key to the experience. You may, as a driver, be jumping out of a mid-engine 570 horsepower Lamborghini straight into a front-engine 225 horsepower automatic gearbox Scirocco. That provides the variety, but continuity is so important because this Scirocco has to perform exactly the same as this Scirocco, and the guys who are working hard for Volkswagen Motorsport need to benchmark the cars. Well, how do they do that if they're not using any drivers? Quite simple, they go out there themselves and make sure that they iron out any differences between the cars. And in that way, we as enthusiasts and spectators know that the only difference is the nut behind the wheel. Here's something I bet you didn't expect to see at the Race of Champions. This should be very familiar. Tube frame, bodywork on it, big lump of American muscle right up front. This is the Euro car. It's styled after a NASCAR, running on treaded tyres. It is the loudest, lairiest, most sideways beast that we're going to have in the Race of Champions this year. Hairy-chested men only need apply for driving this one. It's tight and twisty out there, and driving this at speed around that short circuit is like flying a supersonic jet in your living room. Excellent, great fun for us, massive amounts of concentration required for the drivers, and very different from what most of them have ever driven before.